He enjoys his status, very much so. And, these moments of people being unable to, do anything to him, he enjoys that a lot. Elric certainly knows that he sometimes just, even been recipient of it, does things that are really not okay, just to be able to sort of enjoy his privilege.
Just to be able, when they go, "Hey, you," and then he turns around and just rubs his golden flower, and I'm like, "Yeah,
oh, yeah," and they're like, "Oh, nice weather, huh, Sir Tyrell?" He did it with your hall too, smacking his feet up on your high table. It's kind of disrespectful, but
can't say anything." Beautiful. Onwards and forwards.
Safe to say Lockpeak doesn't like him, but he doesn't like Lockpeak either. So.
How many? Difficult like Lockpeak with us.
So how many people in this group were fooled by Trusty Breeze, Trusty Silkguard, and also wanted to partake?
Well, what do I roll?
Random empathy, I suppose?
Yeah, that would be.
No, I bought that. Like hook, line, and sinker.
We are silk merchants.
Mission has changed, I guess. Oh well.
It's right, like Keevan's like standing in like the tree line. Wait a second. I thought you said that we were.
Took the wrong caravan.
I thought
He looks over too.
Deliberate. Be a silk merchant?
Silk merchant? I need to go. I can't. I need to.
Is that why she's been looking at me?
Keevan, silk's worth a lot of money.
But Lord Tyrell.
We're silk merchants, Kevin.
But the
Money. You enjoy money.
I heard of this man called Butterwell, very popular because of his money.
Yes.
I really like your daughter's money, sir.
We're waiting gold.
That's something that's said quite a bit. I really like your daughter's money.
Yeah. They have her hand.
And he's honest.
The guy's like, well, do you have money too? And you're like, yes. Right. We could exchange some money, sure.
Of your daughter's huge account.
Yes. Anyway, you continue on your trail. Maybe some people are laughing a little bit about the stupid Lannister guards and how easy to fool they are. Eaton-Ricey's not laughing. He doesn't find it amusing at all. He's going to go back here. Grumble a little bit about this whole process of deception. Or Tyrell acting so indignantly.
I know, laughing.
What's he really going to say, though?
Holding up like a ream of silk and going,
Tyrell will give him the same smile as he gives Bree.
Allard should do that to him once, like at some point, like hold up something to him to like present it to Lord Tyrell. Maybe let the silk go,
Another few days go by traveling this road. There are the occasional stop, little village and such. There are inns here and such, which I assume you sort of go to rest at. There's nothing really about them, though they are fairly empty. We'll get the news, one of them, that apparently the Oakhearts have moved forces up, basically into the southern Westerlands. Where they intend to gather a host of reachmen loyal to the new king, the king who bears the sword, to get rid of the usurper king who sits on the throne. This dampens Sir Asher's mood significantly more as well. And he goes to get drunk.
At this point, is Manser even insisting on telling his stories, or is even Manser cooling off?
Well, yeah, he's cooling a little bit off. He seems a little bit bored. He was sort of, in the background stretching a little bit when the guards and such walked up. Preparing himself perhaps, but...
So he's almost disappointed there hasn't been a fight. It's been relatively calm on this trip up north. He doesn't want to do anything to jeopardize that, and Lord Tyrell is being super sad.
Yeah. And he gets why, it's bad that lords are joining the opposed faction and whatnot, but it's that happens, He's not really a geopolitical
So it's
politically
more like,
interested sort of person.
out of respect for my friend, I'm not going to be me right now, but
I am sort of bored. And yeah.
and I probably wouldn't mind a fight in the future.
He's being a little bit rude to everyone but Lord Tyrell. Just, maybe sort of passive-aggressively hoping that someone else will pick a fight.
So that he doesn't have to shoulder the
Yeah,
blame.
basically, yeah. He knows it's a bad idea, but he kind of wants it anyway. None of the knights, at least, they seem used to his way of behaving. Though maybe the two Dornishmen are a little taken aback when he sort of bumps his shoulder into them when passing them and stuff like that.
After the treatment the Caladan guards gave us,
Yeah, I mean, overall, these are pretty jovial,
Just a little hasting.
it's not like we get treated well no matter where we go.
No. No.
That's true. Though people do care a lot less here, it seems. Like the taverns and such here, people don't really care if you're Dornish too much. Just the Westerlands, they don't really have anything to do with that. I don't really give a damn.
Okay.
Their family hasn't fought Dornishmen for generations, so
No, they've done it like twice in the past sometime, and probably not too many of them died or really did much. So that's not really. They don't really have a problem with Dornishmen. They don't really seem to have a problem with many like outsiders, even like Flowers, who may be a little bit exotic and such, will find that here that's not really too weird, and you can also certainly understand that the Westerlands produces basically sheep, like wool and such, and fish, and then like metals, gold specifically, a lot of that. Everything else they pretty much import, and they're not really people who are happy with sort of low-grade wares, like just like some cotton clothing or something. The people of the Westerlands, especially the rich people who have all the gold, like to import the finest wares from all over the world, really. Merchant ships sail like to Westeros from over the inner sea. They sail to Old Town, but skip the trading there to sail on all the way to Lannisport to sell their goods to people who pay in gold bars and gold rings and gold amulets and gold everywhere. You sail there with a full sort of ship of stuff, and you come back with just a little chest of gold things. Then again, people all over the world buy things from Lannisport. It is the best goldsmiths, and you just can't find it better. If you're rich, you want to have their things. And it's a long trip, but it can make you really wealthy. It is a city that's almost entirely, they import everything, basically. And it's only possible because they're so filthy rich. Ridiculously rich.
Fantastically rich.
So rich that people don't even know how much money they do have.
Mm.
They just
So
know that
rich.
there's never really been a lack of it. Except for the people of the Crag, the Westlings. Their mind ran out, and they don't like it. It's very difficult to be the poor people in a country full of rich men. Luckily, they have prestige. Anyway, on that, the trip goes fairly easily, and in the distance, as you sort of begin to round a curve in the road, you do see basically the beach here. The cliffs are moving down a little bit. There's sort of a nice long pier. You see basically these rolling hills. It's still very hilly. There's not really a lot of fields around. There are a few like small farmsteads and such outside the town, or the city, I should say. It's a massive city, metropolis even. But they're not really huge. They're like very uncommon for the Reach. They're like sheep walking around on the hills, and you can like see the city from here. It's a little surreal, but the ground, the dirt here just isn't that great for farming. Beyond that, the city certainly does, in the distance, make a very magnificent view. You can already see the grand city wall, and from every little tower, and there are towers on it. It's big enough for that. It has a couple of gates too. They are the big red banners with the golden lion embroidered upon it, just waving in the air. Looks very magnificent. On the other side of the huge city, you basically see the gigantic rock stand there. It is almost like a mountain, just in the water, really. Almost no slope, and on top of it, you can see the spires and spikes of Casterly rock. Allegedly, this rock is filled with gold, and they simply build as many keeps in the Westerlands, actually. As the mine has dug deeper, they have simply expanded the keep into the rock. Simply living inside of it. Most Westerland castles like that are built on gold mines to protect them from other people who come to steal the gold, and to keep the knowledge of how big they are, the gold mines underground, secret. But it is known that most castles here are actually pretty small, except 9/10 of them are underground in these halls of old mining shafts that have been built into grand halls or treasuries or even menageries that never see the light of sun. Anyway, there's certainly lots of banners, and on the water you do see lots of fishing vessels moving back and forth. A little bit of sprawling outside the city walls happened, though. In events of basically an army coming close, those houses you just demolished to make sure that nothing obscures the view from the wall. So poor people live outside the wall. As you move closer, basically, towards the gate, just control. It, of course, is also has a couple of guards there, because of course it does. On the walls, there are also plenty of guards, mostly these sort of crossbowmen. But there are also another type of guard entirely, perhaps, and these ones are probably the best fitted guards you've ever seen. They wear basically plate armor, each of them, and they're generally fairly well dressed. The gate is open, and it's not actually there are people around now. There's some bustling, sounds of a city. You're doing what a city does. As you move closer, the officer steps out. This is a different one. Though still a little older and such, steps forward and says, he has sort of a ledger with him. She looks up, says, you're entering the city. Traders, I presume. What are you carrying?
Silk.
Silk. Seems to tech a thing. Frowns a little bit and says, all right. What, who's the owner of all this?
I am through my father. I have the documentation with me.
Walks up, reaches out a hand, takes the documentation, begins to copying things. Does the same thing, walking a little bit away to do it.
Sure.
Mansa sort of rolls his eyes. Just kind of wanted to get to something more interesting than standing here doing customs.
Right. Bree gives looks back at him and then looks at the wall.
Yeah. Up there are. You can see maybe 20 people with crossbows up there. Sort of.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Mancer, that can be his destiny for how he took the walls of Lannisport. It's not Bree's destiny.
The crossbowmen here basically use the heavy crossbow and are fairly good with them too. Basically made to pierce reachman armor because they have had a lot of fighting with the reasons. They kind of backstabbed each other in the past, and when things flare up in this region anyway, it's usually south. And they have a lot of armor, so you need something that can punch through it, and these heavy crossbows certainly do the trick of piercing or ripping armor apart. And they have money for them, so why not? He sort of, checks a few things, looks up again. So, all right. You should know right now that some trading is restricted, and that goods, she looks at this, if they are foodstuffs, will be requisitioned and paid for later. Are you bringing anything but silk?
Bree shakes her head. No.
So how long do you plan to stay?
It was recommended by, and perhaps like the name of the officer that was encountered, that we wait until sea travel becomes available to return, because the roads are more unsafe. So as soon as I finish bargaining all of the silk, then I will hope for sea travel.
Mumbles something. As you should make sure to find a place to stay soon, though. So we can't have too many people staying in. She looks at the guards. So though you do seem to offer quite a bit of.
Yes. Do you have any recommendations? This is my first time in Lannisport.
Frowns. This silk merchant there. He'll basically give you like a recommendation for a rather fine place, soundingly. Yeah, like Asher will sort of gently nod his head. Having been here before, he does prefer the more pricey options, and he doesn't really need the money from the silk anyway.
The Lannisport Gazetteer. Need like a copy of that.
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to Lannisport. I mean, it's probably not the most expensive place because Lannisport has. It's hard to say, actually. Alaric, for example, wouldn't really be sure if Sir Ashra has ever stayed at the most expensive place here. It seems like the kind of thing he would do, but it also seems to be potentially so expensive that he might actually be like that. His cousin, the Longthorn, might be like, no, don't do that. We're not made of gold. We earn our money from apples and such, and there has to be done damn lot of apples to pay for this.
Unfortunately, we don't have the Westerland precious mine, so you stay away from that place.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll basically register info and check up on the number of guards, though he doesn't really seem to care about their names. He will say that, that you wouldn't really need them inside the city. And if they are looking for employ, and he'll give you a recruiting post, basically, where you can go and sign up for a free mercenary company, basically. He'll say that if you can even gather 50 people yourself and bring them with you, you can even command your own company. Under service, of course. You can be an officer.
That's where we take the campaign. We lead our own.
Lannister-led company. Yeah, go to fight in the Riverlands.
Working to topple all the other mercenary companies over from within.
Yeah. I mean, let's
50
go.
people.
Yeah.
Spencer Laygood, how many? Do you know enough people who love to fight? Do it.
Everyone, friends.
Yeah.
You would love that. You would be bored.
We will certainly express our gratitude at the recommendation.
Yeah.
It's to stay.
Yeah. Well, he'll sort of step aside and let you actually enter the city proper, without too much of a fuss. You have papers.
And her awe and wonderment at the city walls and the city itself. That's not deception. That's totally wow.
Mm-hmm.
The city is the biggest city she's ever seen. I don't know that any of your characters has been to any city. I mean, Alaric has visited it before. You've seen it before. But it is a metropolis. It is one of the 3 largest cities. Some would say the largest, though probably not in population, but certainly the wealthiest of the great cities. Though a maester, of course, would say that the knowledge of the citadel outweighs any amount of, nobody really cares about them anyway.
This is effectively her version of the Wall. She had heard stories about cities being this big, but I mean, how could the city really be that big? With
It
walls
seems to not be as crowded as you would guess, and certainly not as crowded as Alaric was here before, though this is likely because a lot of the poor people have been drafted and sent out to go to war as like men-at-arms, basically. The Lannisters of Lannisport do still supply their cadet branch. They're not actually directly under they're technically a banner house to the Lannisters of Casterly Rock. But they're sort of a separate entity entirely, and they manage the city as their only domain, really. Incredibly wealthy still. Lots of trade and that sort of thing. They have 2 big manor houses. That basically is, at this point, almost 2 separate cadet families that are sort of competing to be the masters of the town. People are talking about maybe there'll be a 3rd one soon. At some point, something's going to happen, and one of them is going to collapse. That sort of thing. Lannisters don't really mind a little bit of infighting as long as it stays within the family. That's fine. As you look up, basically, the whole city constantly, even like a third of it, being shadowed half the day by the great Casterly Rock. A massive fortress, really. There certainly are a lot of guards. When you look into the city, it seems like it's in the mode of we're actually in wartime, and we're not going to take shit from anybody right now.
Now would be the bad time to be like your first time like public intoxication offender or whatever.
And it also certainly is a city known for its harsh crackdowns on crime. They don't really tolerate. If you're wealthy, you can go to places where things are legal. Like you could go to the place where you're allowed to be super drunk. And you pay for that privilege. But in the street, you're not a vagrant. You don't sit around begging. They don't want that. If you do that, you're kicked out of the city to live in the little strip of land outside of it, which in wartime, as I said, has sort of been demolished a lot. And the people living there, well, clearly they have nothing better to do than be men-at-arms. So send them to war. Go. Most of the realms when you have an army, for example, the Reach's army saying it's 70,000 men strong, that's probably about 50,000 men-at-arms or low training infantrymen and peasant warriors and that sort of thing that have been quickly sort of raised from the different holds. It's not a standing army. There isn't really any house that really holds a large standing army. Though that's what makes these cities so spectacular, basically, because they have an army, a city-state army. Yeah. I found a little bit of a picture here, though it is with a view from the top of Casterly Rock. I think it was the picture that gave the best sort of overview of the city. Well, I thought it looked good. You are basically entering from this place down here, instead of looking from
Feels so small and insignificant.
the rock. Yes, that is certainly the feeling you get when you look up at the huge sort of rock up there. It is dominating the view. And it certainly has lots of those little crimson banners flapping up there, showing you that this is very much Lannister territory. Well, it's kind of their heartland in every possible way. Entering the city, sort of, really, there aren't, as I said, that many people, and the people who are here are very nicely dressed, sort of going around doing their things.
That's right, with all the poor people going, it's like a
nice.
rich person's dream.
It doesn't smell that bad, everything considered. Lots of perfume, exotic smells, lots of people who look like they're far away, like traders. You probably don't even stand out too much in here, which is lucky, because you certainly would have in Old Town, not being scholars. No one really seems to bother you once you're inside. You have your silk wagon. Alaric well, his memory's not the best, but he certainly might remember the marketplace since it's pretty central by the harbor. So, assuming you sort of move in that direction, Ashford will sort of discreetly, move a little close to Alaric and say, well, that went more painlessly than I thought. We actually got in.
Alaric will nod and say, the papers Brienne managed to attain was very useful, as it turned out.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you rephrase that. We got in without having to kill a lot of people. It's preferable. Now it's just he looks around at all the merchants and such. How do we actually find out where? Well, our quarry is.
Kevin looks very anxiously up at the rock and just just shudders.
A distant blast of trumpets, as probably some sort of message has gotten up to there. Maybe the message of what you did.
Imagining all the marksmen who might be as good as him, at least, if not better.
and I mean, he has basically the best equipment he can get, and they will probably have better, you know.
Like he's like outfitted for survival, and here they are walking around like honking heavy armor. It's like, oh fuck.
Huge crossbows and heavy armor, and he's like, oh man.
He sees like the guards' horses all with their plate barding, that sort of thing.
Not
cries.
Not to mention that he's not just in an urban environment. He's in the most massive urban environment he's ever fathomed.
He feels incredibly out of place. He's used to the austere keeps of the marshes. This is just unfathomable. He just walks around like mouth open, basically.
Where do I even hide? There's no trees. Where are the trees?
People everywhere.
Brother, it's like staggers a little bit. You always be as he's like almost falling over from shock from seeing all this.
I mean, Ben has probably never seen such a big city either.
No, the only major city I could imagine he would have seen if he glanced on Sunspear.
Sunspear is pretty big, but it's also very dry compared. I mean, it's nothing compared to this. Ships sometimes stop there to sort of as a speed bump towards this place.
You guys did also see Highgarden.
Highgarden was effectively our speed bumps.
Highgarden is also pretty big, but it is more of a nobleman's paradise. It isn't really like there's a castle city, but it's a massive castle, right? And pleasure palace, basically. While this is more of an actual city with like people who live here all their lives and does all their business. There aren't a lot of cities in Westeros. It's mostly keeps with their little castle towns and then like villages dressed around. Massive cities like this are mostly what you find in the free cities where, well, every city is its own independent nation. Simply because of the number of people gives you a lot of power and a lot of influence. You can muster huge forces, though you are reliant on like imports of food and such, while Highgarden is pretty much self-sufficient.
So how does Lannisport compare to Old Town then?
Lannisport is bigger than Old Town, though Old Town is also like it's also one of the big three, right? One of the big, really three big, huge metropolises. It has the tall tower of Hightower, aptly named, and all right, Garth, and like it has the Citadel. It has the Arbor sort of right across from there, where a lot of like the wines of the world pass through.
Yeah.
And it is also on the way to Lannisport. You don't really go here if you don't stop there. Like, there's no way you can go north around. You have to go south around. And that trip, you have to visit Old Town. So there's always lots of visitors in Old Town. It's a massive city. Alaric probably wouldn't be able to tell which had the biggest population. I mean, even like King's Landing too is in this group. But it is, the fact is, it's on the same level as those cities. Then, of course, there's the next level down, which is like Gold Town or White Harbor, and those cities that are sort of a few magnitudes smaller, but still actual cities with the living and breathing.
So how would this city be compared to Marine?
Marine. I mean, that's probably more of a comparison. The slave cities there are pretty big, but that's because most of their people are slaves, doing work and such. It is a lot cleaner than Marine. It doesn't smell as bad, and like it doesn't have that sort of sour feeling of human misery that's just infused in the cities of Slaver's Bay. Not as exotic, even with all the traders that come here. Like it's much further away from the faraway lands of GT and the South Seas and stuff like that. But it certainly is more of a comparison. Lannisport is probably on the same level as them, though here the population is not enslaved, making it feel bigger because they sort of have houses and lives and such instead of just living in like a barracks underground.
Feels a bit nicer to be here then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the slave cities are not good unless you're really into slavery and you're like born a wealthy merchant king.
Are you into slavery, sir? Why, yes, I am. I love it.
Yeah. Varen might get some like horrid memories though, being here of his time in the Marine.
Yeah. He has also been to like Mir, which is closer. And Mir certainly is also in the same sort of level of being a city big enough that it doesn't really matter if it's big enough that it doesn't matter how big exactly.
Yeah.
It's just really fucking big. And it is what gives the Lannisters basically. It is what they have that the Rains do not have, that the Lords of the Golden Tooth do not have. Nobody else has this, and that makes them very much sort of almost unquestioningly the dominant power in the region. Because everyone kind of has gold mines, well, most people, except for the Westlings. But they certainly don't have a Lannisport. Yeah. As you walk in, basically also move towards the market, you do begin to pass rather grandiose like buildings, tall, fine, big facades, and you can hear sort of the clinking of hammers as in there are the great many like goldsmiths of the city. It is the greatest collection of goldsmiths because if you want to do something in goldsmithing, this is where you go to learn from the best, and like there's just no place that can compete with it. The biggest import of goods is certainly also gold from around here, which is then used to pay for everything. Incredibly expensive and also very well protected. The city's own guards being quite a lot, but many of the goldsmiths will have their own sort of personal guards, working almost more as minor nobles themselves because of their wealth than as commoners who are really good at smithing gold. You also don't really insult them easily, because again, they're so rich that even like a landed knight might want to bow to one of these low-born goldsmiths because of their skill in their field and their wealth and their luxury with which they carry themselves. The favor of the Lannisters is sort of making you a little golden statuette in their mind.
Well, with so much wealth and gold and fantastic power everywhere, I feel a bit paralyzed, I gotta say. What do? I guess we should go to the inn that got recommended to at least set up some sort of base.
Yeah. So Azure is looking at like Alaric a lot. Actually, so we should really. Does anyone know anyone here?
Looks over to Ren like, really?
Frown slightly.
Alaric will kind of shrug and say, I know the same people as you know in here, really.
We didn't really meet anyone when we visited together, at least I don't remember anyone really important. Just, you never know who people meet.
Alaric nods.
So puts a hand on Alaric's shoulder, moves a little closer and says, if it's because you're embarrassed, I I probably would be too, but then again, I don't do things as stupid as that, so. I'll tell them, but maybe you should have the chance to do so first.
Alaric looks kind of perplexed.
Just- They most of them already know. He sort of looks down a little bit. It was a long trip. It got boring.
What?
I don't know. Alaric kind of frowns deeply and says, "Right, let's I think let's find a home until we can get some information from shrugs people."
Yes, people. She gives you sort of a smile and says, yes, everyone, I think Alaric is right. We should find the inn and then we'll talk to some people. Sort of a
Alaric
slight
just
wink.
looks like,
and then he
"What?"
then begins to move the cart towards the inn, basically. It's like a trader's inn, so they're used to people bringing their goods. They have, like, you can pay a little extra to have some room, basically, to put it in their huge warehouse. It's under guard and such. Lock it in a little cell in there.
Well, sure.
Assuming that that's done, potentially some of the money that might be gained from selling silk. It's fairly easy. They're very nice people, and though there are quite a few traders who choose to basically stay here and waiting for the sea travel to pick up, or maybe came here with ship, and are waiting for themselves to be able to go back. Because you don't really want to have gold on board when you get raided by people, and you kind of want to be safe for that sort of your whole livelihood. You usually sail with. Yeah, basically, you get your place. You get like a nice booth where you can sit alone. You get some golden arbor wine. It's very fancy. There's like people playing the violin in the center of the room on a little raised stage. Woman, beautiful golden dress, playing some Lannisport ballad of the kings of the rock in the past. It's actually really nice here. It's sort of a nice spicy smell, as they probably haven't gotten like dug through their pre-war provisioning of luxuries enough to feel it, really. The city having enough of a storage to continue operating in its ostentatious ways, even as the war has begun, for now at least. Nice spicy smells. Yeah. You can take a little bit of time to rest or whatnot, but it seems that Ashra is rather eager to get going. He certainly clings to Alaric a little bit.
Are we? We're all healthy, right? There's no one really hurt or wounded.
I healed everyone up.
Yeah, I
everything.
believe
And sort of took care of that.
everyone's cool.
Okay. Well, the question is, where do we start? Kevin has no contacts in the city whatsoever.
All right. How about this? Could Alaric think back and maybe think of anyone he does know? Because apparently, Sir Asher thinks he does.
Sure, you could do like I think it's cunning memory.
Yep, cunning memory.
Okay.
How cunning is Sarah? Alright.
Not very.
I mean, there was that one girl, but he didn't even like. He doesn't remember who she was, or like. Then again, has he spoken to a Lannister or had contact with one at some point?
Probably.
Potentially.
Probably. Because I mean.
Yeah.
All of his knighting, Tawny
Yeah.
years.
That's what he was referring to.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, that was that guy, I guess. But how do we even? I mean,
She's like, can't talk to that girl. No, can't talk to her. Nope, never going back there.
No.
Asher's looking at Alex saying, You You did have a plan, right?
Larry looks at Asher and says,
That was the reason for it, surely. No.
I mean, everything wasn't meant for him to actually be here, but I mean, I guess. But asking around for a Lannister is kind of risky.
Oh. I suppose.
And we can't
Is it?
bribe them because. I mean,
Isn't asking for a Lannister kind of normal here?
Look, frowns, Levensis. The amount of money you paid him, I thought you'd have more than this. So looks at the others. Only Eden Riceley's like really raising his eyebrows, like what?
Keek even doesn't know what's going on.
I mean, the contact I had just kind of disappeared, so
Just
it's difficult. So you know.
frowns at what? Am I misunderstanding something here? You did speak and confer with a Lannister sometime before this whole conspiracy against the Reach occurred, yes? So I was informed by Lord Hightower that some information about such a deal had been worked out, and he was rather insistent that I deal with you.
Okay, all right.
I
Now,
thought that perhaps you had worked with them,
I mean,
but I assured him that you had not, and that I would. Well, it's what really sparked this whole plan.
God
I didn't want to rob you of the moment, but
to.
spread his eyes looking at the others. You conspired with the Lannisters? No one else looks surprised. None of the, Dorian sort of just shakes his head slightly, and Manta just look like, oh, the one.
I'm surprised.
Alaric frowns.
Even it's like,
changes to
what?
it. God damn it. People.
The Baron
Bree's too
hasn't really
busy.
been here for that long.
Bree is too busy staring in wonder at the city to
I just. Yeah, Alaric's just baffled at what is happening right now.
So you didn't
I
prepare contacts then.
okay, all right.
What the
Can
hell
I
did you pay for?
Can I do another memory test now that I know what I'm trying to remember?
Sure, tell me, what are you trying to remember?
If I had any contacts set up for such a situation to occur.
Roll the dice.
It's better.
Well, you made a deal with Lannister, and it was about something. Like, you paid for it, certainly. You did pay a lot of money, or promised to pay a lot of money anyway. Peaceberry is currently covering for it, seemingly. You remember, like, a face, certainly? Like the long blonde hair.
Narrows it down.
Yeah. Maybe you met him and thought, like, he was a woman from behind, and then got talking. But his name was Morrill Lannister. You remember that from when a strange man came and pulled you into the dark room to talk to you about it. And,
I pulled
well,
him into the dark.
what exactly was decided there? Certainly you remember that you did him quite a big favor. And, that might mean that he owes you one. With a role like that, you don't remember the exact wording of whatever might have gone on.
Well, it's time to pretend.
Yeah.
Go, Alaric.
Fake it until you make it.
She sort of frowns a little bit, says, so what did you make a deal with them about?
Alaric,
Says, you don't. Have you gotten sold? Do you need to pay for it?
no.
David.
That's, no. It's, it was a Lannister of the name of Moral, but, it's been quite a long time, and, there has been some fighting since, and, a few knocks on the head, and it's tough to remember sometimes. It's been a long year so far.
That's true. Well, you paid him for something. I don't remember what.
Alaric frowns and says, at the moment. Maybe that boulder in the Red Mountain really did knock something loose. I don't know.
He's probably heard the story by now, so he smiles slightly at the thought of Alaric sort of being stuck under a boulder, the great Titan of Caladan having a rock on his head and not being able to move.
Yeah, Alaric would just kind of give the look of he's deep in thought and is definitely trying to remember something, but obviously he's not coming up with anything.
Well, there's nothing as well. I suppose we can start from the bottom up then. Does anyone any ideas?
Well, I mean, if we have the name of the Lannister we need, we could probably ask around.
We do, but I'm not sure just asking for a Lannister by name is
Well, who was he exactly?
too good. One moral Lannister.
What was his profession?
Lannister.
Lannister.
I see.
Foreign, he doesn't look like he really sees. Like, how
Nope.
could your profession be?
It looks just as confused as before.
Asher Tyrell will casually, because he does have a shit ton of status, which means he knows these sorts of things, allegedly. Say, he's a bit of a failure, actually.
Oh?
Yeah, he gambled away, well, more money than I would be allowed to have.
So,
That's quite a lot.
bit of an idiot, perhaps? Looks around.
It's the general consensus, yeah. Not really an heir to anything, just a superfluous extra son. Not really good at fighting, never showed up to tournaments. Allegedly gets drunk whenever stressed and throws money at the people around him. Very popular in certain circles.
Well, I mean, if he's very popular, he should be easy enough to find if he has gambling.
Not popular here.
No.
I don't think he is allowed to talk to too many people anymore. Haven't heard of something about him since Hightower. Well, looks to Alaric accused Alaric of treasonous behavior.
I don't suppose we know anyone who knows him.
Francis, I think I do, but I think they're all our enemies and currently warring in the Riverlands.
Right.
I imagine all the best ones would have left. Though someone surely has left here to take care of Lord Tyrell.
Well, it means that Moral is still here, probably, right? They wouldn't let him near a battlefield.
So, unless they really want to get rid of him, I suppose. Then again, at wartime, maybe you want to keep a spare safe just for the hell of it.
The son, even if he is bad with everything, is still a son.
Well, yeah. He has family. Other than that, though, there are people who might know a thing or two. He looks sort of out within the room. Says, if we could find a captain of one of the supply ships, normal sailors wouldn't really know where they bring things, but the captains might know the purpose for why he's bringing fine dining to someplace. Unless, of course, they take it overland, in which case we'd have to talk to one of those people.
I suppose we could also seek out some gambling dens. They might know him.
They would know him, but probably not a way to get to him. Otherwise, I'm sure a lot of the debt collectors would have found him.
If we could convince a goldsmith, perhaps, to take us with him. The gold trade continues no matter what's going on here. They can restrict other trade, but they wouldn't ever restrict the gold trade. They'll be allowed to go anywhere. They'll certainly have picked something up. Not really the easy people to talk to. Haven't ever tried, really.
Don't have a silver tongue like some people to accomplish such a feat.
Need a golden one here. Says, don't know that they keep their daughters here either. Frown slightly. And I remember not, should have frowned slightly. Says, not being Sir Tyrell really would ruin my whole thing.
Alaric nods and says, that has always been your first play.
Nonsense as well. I only need my foot in the door, so to speak.
So it seems like we should look for best bet a gold merchant, try and get him to agree to something, or a daughter of a gold merchant, maybe.
She smiles and says, "Oh, that would be something I could do, perhaps."
Keep looks over to Ren.
Alaric kind of grins and says,
Just sighs. Lots of sighs.
Good to be married soon, right?
Why do we need a daughter of a gold merchant? I don't get it.
Alaric's grin kind of disappears as he says that you're going to get married soon. It's like, oh shit, yeah.
Also, if we want to find a meeting place for something, they have a menagerie here. I looked there once. No one barely interesting was ever there. So
sounds like the perfect place.
Just animals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm hearing split up. Perhaps looks to Kievan and Ren and maybe Varen and says, perhaps you guys could talk to maybe some captains.
I don't even know how I would open up a conversation like that.
I suppose. Alaric kind of frowns and everything. Like,
So, nice weather, huh? I like the gold. Shame about the war. But, gotta remove the wrong king, you know?
Can't have any of those thorns in your side. Long thorns.
You know, I got a really obnoxious one, stuck in my foot the other day. It was terrible. Do you know how to get rid of long thorns?
Oh, I think you just dropped this gold piece.
Mm.
I mean, we could all just roll up to a gold merchant, but that's probably not going to work out too well.
Oh, we need a hook. Can't just my original thought was well, if Morel is a bit of a idiot and a bit of a party animal, he'd probably be around town somewhere. He might go out and slum it outside the castle.
You know, it's possible that with fewer Lannisters around to keep him in check, maybe he's able to cut loose and, he's making his biggest escape to go to the drinking halls.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So we might follow the party rumblings in town, maybe. Be like, when Thorak bought all the wine in an establishment and just opened up all the casks for everyone. Maybe he's doing something similar. So there might be a trail to follow that way and get to him.
Oh man, now that party would be noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, we can wait, and it's most likely going to be obvious at night.
I mean, the other option would be that I could figure out it was be like to actually act as debt collectors and be like, no, he owes us a lot of money, and they would be like, oh, of course he does. Oh shit. Yes, well, he is there, and that's a way to ask for him without it seeming suspicious.
This is how we get all of the money. They're just like,
Well,
oh
it would
yeah,
be-
of
it would
course,
be
all right,
like-
here you
like-
go.
Like who are you? And then they look at Vorian and they look at Alaric, like crack their knuckles, like, oh, all right, yeah, that's what you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
We could try that. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Baron more than Alaric, because Alaric is all knightly and stuff. Baron just looks like a murderer.
Indeed it does.
I'm from the Iron Bank.
He lowers at them. They're like, of course you are. Yes.
It's like you make a deception roll. You see, the good news is I barely fucking speak this shitty common language, so.
Don't have to say much.
I am from Iron Bank.
I must.
Iron Bank, yes.
All country.
You just should wear like a name tag or like a sticker from the Iron Bank.
You make one. Forgery.
Oh, shit.
I've heard of the Iron Bank. I can probably fake it.
Like a small wooden thing with the burnt letters in.
Yeah. Iron Bank.
Iron Bank. Damn it,
So-
bank is spelt with an A, not an E.
Actually, you probably wouldn't want to throw that name around because that probably would attract attention. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Iron Bank, huh?
Yeah, it would get a bit more.
You know,
No, no.
I've spoken with their officials. Will by chance sent you?
I am a new hire. Started
It's
yesterday.
a Iron Bank sent. Yes.
Yeah.
Unpaid freelancer.
Iron Bank sent. Yes. Give money.
I'm doing I'm in my paid internship for the Iron Bank right now.
I think it's better if like either Kevin or Ren plays the like actual collector and Baron is just the muscle.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
Keevan's not the best at that. I could try.
I mean,
Or
we could
someone else,
probably
but yeah.
get away with it. If we're going with that route, then it's like the muscle.
If,
probably is good.
If you go look for Sir Lannister, I'll go see about that other thing.
That other thing?
Yes.
Go to Ren.
I think he's on about maybe a daughter of some description.
It's, Eden, how about let's go. He sort of looks at this, sir. Well, there's leads. I'll yeah.
Gonna tend to some leads.
He'll make his exit.
Uh-huh.
Alright.
Orions of sitting far away, being broody as usual. With Manchester sort of just looking and says, "Don't think I've ever beaten a Lannister boy before. Well, physically.
I mean, we'll probably get the chance at some point. They're not gonna
You know,
like
it's-
us taking our quarry.
Yeah.
Plenty of opportunity. I have put some on their ass before. Kind of shrugs.
So this guy we're looking for, how well do you actually know him?
Not very well. That's all, really. He's a Lannister. He looks like a Lannister. All Lannisters
So-
look the same.
How
But
do
you gave him a lot
Manson
of money.
nods confidently. They
But
do.
you gave him a lot of money.
It's a long story. It's,
Allegedly, the good sir here, if you permit me to tell the story, so looks salary. With a sly grin. For to embarrass
Bree
you.
looking around at the city also has that same grin on her face.
Alara just kind of rubs his temples and like nods and what? Yeah, whatever. Just sure.
All right. He sort of sits in, like.
Story time.
Alara
Sits
gets a
down.
drink.
sits around the table. It's all right. He sort of waits for get more drinks. I brought over.
Oh, he's drinking
So-
more. He doesn't give a fuck.
So, the good Sir Titan was having a bit of a drink at a tavern, it is said. Reliable sources, of course. I have this from the, it seems to think, well, someone who would know. They know someone, but they heard someone talking about it who knew someone who was there. This is a nice place, really, but allegedly, the good sir is dared to go a bit more than just the usual. Being a good man, he, of course, takes the challenge. Turns out that it was a little bit too much for even him. So apparently, this lion boy, whatever his name was, has had enough of the alcohols that he's gone onto some stronger stuff. If you understand, he sort of points to his head. Plants from the far away. They really mess you up. This looks to be a desire who can handle it. Anyway, apparently this makes the good sir over there dance and sing really happy. He likes it a lot. Good. Like he hasn't done that before. But in the end, it turns out he ends up apparently, well, and this is where they are wrong about the story they tell. They say he began to conspire against the Lord of High Garden and such. But really what happened is that he lost the bet. He couldn't. He looks to Alaric and says, well, evidently he couldn't handle more than this green little lion boy.